What is up, everyone? Renfail here. Hopefully you're having a great day. We're about to dive into my ultimate beginner's guide to Fallout 76, which I just started getting into after the Fallout show. So hopefully I can bring an interesting perspective to this because I am a new player, like many out there. So these are some of the things I've learned along the way, along with some tips that people have given me. If you find them useful, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams here and on Twitch. There's a Discord, a Patreon. See you in game. The first decision you're going to be faced with once you leave the tutorial area and are ready to head out of the vault is to decide whether or not you want to start the game at level 20 or level 2. Now, they want to promote level 20 as the best choice, and I would argue that it is the best choice if you want to jump right into the game with a variety of skills that you can already have predefined and everything else. So this includes weapon, armor, perk cards, and it says here, battle-ready dwellers leave the vault at level 20 with a loadout of their choice and are prepared to jump into more difficult content. Whereas the fresh dweller is as if you were starting the game when it first launched several years ago. So you're going to start off with weapons and armor, but you're level 2, you get 1 perk, and then you have to earn your perks. You have to go out there and play through the game and have it be a little bit more difficult because you're doing it from level 1, and you got to work your way up to taking on the more difficult challenges. So it just depends on whether or not you want to be challenged. I would go with the fresh dweller, or if you just want to jump into the game and have a variety of abilities already at your disposal, a bunch of perks set up, a special loadout, go with level 20. Either option is great. It just depends on what kind of experience you want out of the get-go. I would say if you've never played the game before and you're coming into it as a new player for the very first time and you want the most streamlined experience, go with the Battle Ready Dweller, the level 21. Otherwise, if you want to go old school, you could do the Fresh Dweller and go from there. And then you can always, from here, don't forget to check out your special loadouts, because here is where you get to choose which loadout is going to be best for you. And there's a variety of different ways to look at this game, because there's so much going on. There's really no wrong way to do this. What you want to pay attention to is if you look on the bottom where it has the special letters, right? So that's your strength, perception, etc. So here it's showing you what the best stats for these characters are. So that in this case, level 20 character perception is the best. And it says here, uses automatic weapons to engage enemies from a distance. So that's, sort of your generic automatic rifle build. Then you have a two-handed melee build called the Slugger. You've got the Gunslinger, who fights with 2 different pistols, or just pistols, the pack a mean punch, it says. Shotgunner is if you prefer shotguns, and then the Specialist is if you're going to be going primarily towards the VAT system, which is targeting the individual body parts. So this is more of a sort of a strategic build. And now these are just sort of predefined loadouts that you can otherwise build from scratch if you're going to be leveling up your character from the get-go. But if you're going to be going here with the Battle Ready Dweller, you might want to pick something accordingly. I would, an easy one is probably going to be Commando, and then you can go for here and confirm it, and it will load that up for you. We'll just take a look at that so you can see what that looks like, and then we'll go ahead and load out into the real world, and it'll get us into the next part of the video, which is going to be talking about perks and cards. So now that we're out here, we're in the real world. You've loaded in for the first time. We did the level 20. We've got all sorts of stuff that's going to pop up at the menu right now. But let's take a look at the perks here. You have unopened perk packs. So here's the perfect part to talk about perks and cards. So every time you level, you're going to get these points that you can spend in your stats, your specials: strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. And you're going to slot cards into those stats. Now these are perk cards. The way you get perk cards is as you level along, you get perk packs. When you open these packs, and you're going to get a whole bunch of different cards and some jokes that you get out of here. But we, get a whole bunch of cards, and then you use these cards. These are all these ones we just got, these new cards, right? There's a whole bunch of cards in here to look at because we're starting the game level 20. If you were starting at level 1, there'd be one card. But you'll notice here across the top, it's already got some cards slotted in. Now, this might seem extremely overwhelming at first, but I promise you it's simple once you get used to it. So essentially, the amount of points that you have in a stat determines the amount of points that you can have in cards slotted in. So Charisma has 4 points. I have a card called the Lone Wanderer, which is ranked up to level 3, which is notated by the 3 stars that are filled on the pack. Notice this Rejuvenated only has 1 star filled because it hasn't been fully upgraded. The reason this has it costs 4 points is what this says. So the Lone Wanderer has the 4 in the upper left. What that means is that this card is worth 4 points. And in order to slot it into the Charisma tree, underneath the Charisma stat, it would need to be a 4 or lower because I can only slot up to a total of 4 points in Charisma. Now, those points can be divided amongst multiple cards as opposed to one card. So if we go over to Perception, you'll notice that Perception has 3 different cards slotted in it. Ground Pounder, Concentrated Fire, Commando. The total of which come to 7. 3 plus 3, 6 plus 1. And so we can go through here and look at these. We've got Ground Pounder is maxed out to 3 star. Basic Combat Training is maxed out at 3 star. And Concentrated Fire is at 1. So you'll just go through here and you can see that any combination of points gets you to the total amount of points that you're allowed to have for a stat. And your stats can level up over time as you continue to play the game. You'll get more perk cards along the way. You can upgrade these perk cards by taking duplicates and going from there. Let's see if I can... I don't know that it's going to have any duplicates because we just started. So I think it just gave us a whole array of perk cards because we're level 20. But as you go through and get more cards, you will get duplicates. And when you get duplicates, you can take a card like the one we're looking at here, Concentrated Fire, which is only currently a 1 star out of 3. Thus, it only costs 1 point to slot. Were we to upgrade it to 2 stars, meaning we had 2 Concentrated Fire cards that we combined into 1, you would then be able to have a 2-star card, but it would cost more to slot into. It would be like 2 points. You'll notice that over here, Lone Wanderer costs 4 points once it's fully upgraded. So those are things to keep in mind about the perks and card system. Now you could change these out at any point in time. You'll notice across the bottom, anytime I move over to a stat like Strength, you can go down here and you'll see all the Strength cards that you could slot. And then you can pick one. Here you could go into this one and you could put whatever combination of these that you wanted in there, so on and so forth. And each one of these, we've got multiples along the way. And like I said, you'll collect cards as you go through the game, and you can slot things wherever you want and go from there. Along your journeys, you're going to come across these camps and areas that are following in the footsteps of the Overseer. The first one you're going to come across is here right outside the Wayward when you first start the game. And the nice thing about this is it has an Overseer's cache, which you can check. It'll have a lot more stuff in it when you're coming here for the very first time, because I've already been here before, so I've already rated it, but you'll find these scattered throughout the game as you play through the main storyline. Take those, every time you see these, just take everything that's in there, and then you should be, if you're not in the direct vicinity of it, you'll find your own stash box where you can come in here and stash all your junk. But the big thing is just follow along the main storyline and you'll come across these, the Overseer's caches, and they are vitally important to getting some much needed supplies in the early stages of the game to help get you going in terms of crafting, as well as just general survival. And usually what you're going to be looking for also in the same vicinity is going to be the crafting tables, which leads us directly into the next segment on crafting and scrapping. Now, everything in this game just about can be broken down into various things. Things like this can be cooked, and at these campsites. This is the first one you come across. We also have our own camp set up later on, further on down the road. But generally speaking, what we're looking for is these types of tables. You'll find these at camps. You'll also find them scattered around in the world. There's weapons workbenches. There are armor workbenches. There's also cooking stations. There's alchemy stations, brewing stations, so on and so forth. There's lots of different things. When you find one of these and you hover over it, you'll notice that it either has a craft, scrap, or modify repair. Scrap is a huge tool at your disposal. I think I clicked the right one. I might have clicked repair. Hold on. Yeah, I hit the wrong thing. So hang on, let me go back here. Let's hit scrap items. There we go. So if I have anything in my inventory that could be scrapped, I can do so here. So like I could choose to scrap this weapon and it's going to give me these items. And then I could just scrap all these things and it gives me different things. So when you're looking at these, pretty much, like I said, black rim glasses, like all these different things can be picked up and broken down. And you can choose to pretty much break down anything you want. And they give you these raw resources, which you can then use to create other things. And it's pretty much a given that you should be looting everything you find in the game, regardless of what it is, because you can take it back to these workbenches and break it down into vitally important crafting mats, which can be used for so many different things, like upgrading your weapons, you know, you're building your base, doing your outpost, everything else. And that's what you get into, like modifying, as well as just crafting in general. But you can come in here and you can modify things. Like you can take a look at like my short pump action shotgun that I use, and find these different mods that I have that I can apply to it, because I have the materials that I've broken down from other things. So if we're already going to standard barrels, you look here and it says adhesive, screws, springs, steel. These are all the things that are required to make the mods in terms of the resources. So always, always, always be looting everything and break it down at these workbenches. And then when you find yourself, if you're ever getting like overly full on things, whatever, you can come to your stash box and you can choose to stash anything you want in here, and go on about your exploration. Now the next thing is eating and drinking. If you notice on the bottom right of my screen, I've got a food icon and a water icon. This isn't a game where you'll die if you don't eat or drink, but you do get some nice bonuses from eating and drinking. So at any time that you can, you should be cooking food, because the food gives you different stats. Specifically like Salisbury steak, it's 25% food, I get 25 hit points. Cooked food, as a general rule, doesn't have as big of a chance. It sometimes doesn't have any chance of giving you radiation. Whereas if I were to eat things that were cooked out in the wild, that are from the wild, like a rad scorpion thing, I did make that. I made that, but it has things in it that would give me rads. And then, generally speaking, things you find in the world can give you radiation as well. I'm gonna drop all these because I have spoiled stuff on me. But as you get deeper in it, you'll be able to make things like the Starlight Berry Cobbler, which gives you a ton of hit points. It's 12% of your food bonus. It's pretty good. That keeps you topped off. And then in terms of your drinking, you can find all sorts of different things in the game to drink. But you do need to pay attention to things like alcoholism, because if you drink too much alcohol, you can become alcohol dependent. So I don't drink alcohol that often. Occasionally I will. Really what you're looking for is purified water. Purified water is the best. After that, you can also go for like the Nuka-Colas and stuff, and you can also find, I believe it's boiled water. Yeah, boiled water is slightly less good. It gives you rads, but it's way better than dirty water, which gives you way more rads. So food and drink are important. Always try to carry food on you. Always be looting things, because whenever you come across these cooking stations, you can take whatever you found in the wild. We were talking about that in the previous one, and you can make drinks, you can make food, you can do healing salves, different things. So always be looking at how you can prepare things, because you can come back here and say, oh, I want to make some blackberry juice, and I'm going to say I'm going to make all of those. And this has stats on it too. It gives me some rads, but it gives me 50% water, and it gives me action point regen. as well as some hit points. So that's pretty cool. So food and drink is important. You won't die if you don't, but it is important to eat and drink as often as you can. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. Now, just as much as we can use the Overseer camp that we found here in the beginning of the game as a great base of operations to get you going, at some point you're going to want to place your own camp. If not to build an outpost, at the very least because you get a free fast travel waypoint to that camp. If we open up our map here, go down here, you'll find where my camp is. We can go to that fast travel to it, and it will say fast travel. It doesn't cost any caps to go here, so it's a free fast travel. And when you get here, I've got some things set up. I'm gonna let that audio go on while she's talking. There's a public event going on over here at the plantation or whatever it is. So at my camp, you know, I've got some basic supplies set up. This is what your camp looks like. And when you're in this mode, you can build all sorts of different things. So if you ever get into outpost building, this is where you're going to want to go to like build a house, because you can build all these different structures. There's walls, there's rooftops, there's stairways, there's doors, there's all this stuff, the crafting stations you can build, turrets. So I've just got a very basic setup here. Which is I have my camp set up there. I have a general turret, which keeps me safe, generally speaking. If I really wanted to be safe, I would build a walled structure, but then I have all my stations right here. The camp location can, if you're going to get into outpost building and you're going to get into the end game and you're going to really go deep into Fallout 76, I'm saying this from a newbie's perspective. If you're a new player, I don't think it matters that much about your camp placement and things of that nature. But if you're going to get deep into this game, it does matter, because there are things like water purifiers where you're going to want to be located on, or you know, directly near to or connected to a water source. Because when you go into the camp scenario here, you'll see there's a radius here. You see this green line right here? That green line is the radius around my camp thing right here. So if I wanted to move this, I could, and that radius is going to shift based on me moving, but I'm not going to move it. But that's something you can think about when it comes to the long-term placement of your camp, is that you're going to want it near or on top of a water source as a general rule. There's a lot more to it, which I can cover in a different guide, but this one is just sort of like the beginner's version, and I haven't gotten horribly deep into the outpost system, but I have played with some folks who do. So I know a little bit about it. We'll talk about it in a different video. Alright, everybody wants to be able to make their character look cool, right? And cosmetics are a huge thing in this game. So we're going to go in here to the apparel tab under items. And in here you're going to find all these different things. Now I'm currently wearing a fire breather outfit because I was doing quests over there. I can take that off, and you'll notice my character is back in his vault gear with some armor and a backpack. Now I actually have some different outfits that I like to use, and some of these outfits are cosmetic only. Some of them are also have stats. I like the fisherman outfit, but then you have all these different things you can wear. You can wear glasses, so I can put the glasses on. He's now wearing glasses. I've got hats. My green cap is what I normally wear, so I'm normally running around something looking like this, but there's all these with my patrolman sunglasses. There we go. Yeah, there we go. But I'm in first person most of the time, but you can make make your character look like you want them to look with just different outfits, and you can find lots of different things in the game. Like there's a military cap I could wear if I wanted to. lots of different ways to make your character look. So cosmetics are something that's a real thing in this game. Everything you loot, pretty much armor-wise, can be worn in some way, shape, or form. Some of them are armor, some of them are cosmetic only, but you can make your character look exactly how you want your character to look in this game. Alright, so remember when we first got to the camp a minute ago and there was an NPC talking about some sort of event that was going down near us? This is that event. So you'll notice we have some waypoints on our map right now for these 3 targets that we got to hit. And there's, on the top right of our screen, there is a countdown that's ticking down where it says Event Fertile Soil, Kill Farmhand Supervisor 0 to 3. Now, the events can happen anywhere throughout the map. Generally speaking, they're in some sort of area nearby where you are, so that if you're nearby something that is going to get triggered, you get an alert for it. A countdown will start happening, and then you can choose to go participate in these events. These are public events that anybody can participate in. They do pop up, like this one I've seen multiple times, so they do repeat. But they're just little sort of flavor things that exist between main storylines. I'll be the first to admit that they do get a bit repetitive after you've done them a bunch of times, but considering they're free rewards, it's a nice thing to be like, hey, you're in the area, I dropped by my camp, suddenly one of these things is going off, oh, let's go take care of it. Generally speaking, they only take a few minutes to complete. Sometimes they have multiple steps, like I've done this one a couple of times. Essentially, you take care of the farm supervisors, then you have to go inside the building and do something with the computer. I mean, it takes all of 5 minutes to do, but those pop up from time to time, so you can always go check out public events at your leisure for extra stuff to do in the game. Now, following up on the public events are the dailies and weeklies, which you can check by going into the menu. Once you hit the map here, you can go into the challenges that are listed in the upper right. You can tab over, and we can see that there are daily challenges, weekly challenges, character challenges, survival challenges. There's all these different types of challenges, but the ones that a lot of people focus on are the dailies and the weeklies, because these get you some immediate rewards, and you can go from here and just sort of flesh out your campsites. They give you all these different things to do, and they do change, so they're not always the same. So like today, we consume any chems, complete a daily challenge ×6, build a floor wall decoration, chew some bubblegum, complete a daily quest, cripple a human's head. Like, I have some bubblegum. Let's just do that really quick. So we would go in here and say, boom. That's probably in food and drink. I know I saw it a minute ago. Grape, paint, perk, bubblegum. This should complete. There we go. Score challenge complete. Chew some bubblegum. I leveled up. I got a new score ranking, and you can keep doing that. And the big thing is if you hit X to bring up and track the challenges. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong thing here. Go to season, that's what I was looking for. So the reason you would want to participate in dailies and weeklies is getting the tickets, which then have you participate in this, which is part of the seasonal stuff. And you can spend tickets on certain items. Now, some items are locked behind the subscription, so if you want to really get into this game, you would go with the subscription, but it's not mandatory, because some of this stuff you can just get with just tickets no matter what. Like, I have 120 tickets, so if I wanted to, I could claim Peeper's Paint, which is the double-barreled shotgun and cold shoulder for 40 tickets, but I'm not going to. Maybe inspect that a little bit. I don't know, that's kind of cool looking. And then we can go back to challenges and see. So these are your dailies and weeklies if you want to participate in those. They're a lot of fun. So if you're really getting into this game, these are a great way to just jump on, spend an hour, knock these out, get some cool rewards, pimp out your character and your camp, go from there. One of the coolest things that got added to the game a while back were these donation boxes. And the idea is that when you first get going in the game, you're going to come across these from time to time. And in these, you're going to find things that other players have donated. Now, sometimes these boxes might have a lot of things in them. Sometimes they only might have a few things in them. It varies based on the server that you're logging into. But the idea is that if you have excess of something, you can put it in. So if I were to go to the transfer thing, I could say, you know what? You know those blackberry juices we made earlier on in the video? I'm going to go ahead and put those in this. I'm going to put 3 of those in here for somebody to use. So now those are in there, and I can also put the mole rat meat in there as well. So I've given some goodies to people. Anything else? Put some gumdrops. Yeah. So now we've got more things in the donation box. It's just a nice little way for players to sort of give back. You don't have to participate in it if you don't want to. But I do suggest checking them as you run around in the world because you will occasionally find things that you might find useful inside. Like, I'm totally going to take that frag grenade and the shotgun shells because ammo is always good to have. I'll happily take those and be on my way adventuring out in the world. That's it for this one, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams here and on Twitch. Don't forget the Patreon and the Discord. Links are all down there.